everyone. Welcome back to Sports Time HQ. I'm your host, Fernando, and Keith and I are back at it this week. We decided to go a little later on the show. You know, trade deadline is upon us. And Keith, it's been a wild one. And how are you doing today?
I'm doing good. Yeah, crazy day in the world of football. I think for fantasy, a lot of running backs moving, just making the waters murkier in these, committees that's going on. I know we'll probably touch on them as we go on with the show, but yeah, it's a crazy day. Kind of went down to the wire for a few trades, but yeah, I don't think for fantasy, a lot of people are going to be too happy.
No, not at all. But I mean, as for last week's games, I feel like we both are pretty happy with our teams, right?
Oh, for sure. Yeah. My Seahawks still keep surprising me. So yeah, I'm happy.
I had them winning. I didn't really believe in New York Giants. Didn't really believe in them. So I had the Seahawks upsetting them.
I said on the show last week, I thought we'd be good enough to win. It's just, it's just the way they're playing though. They just look really good. So yeah, I'm happy so far. We got the Cards this week. I believe the Cards are 3-point favorites or something. I got a message today saying there's been no respect shown to the Seahawks, so I'm happy with that. I think we've beaten them once. We can do it again.
Yeah, and you think Seahawks are going to draft another quarterback next year?
I don't know. There's no reason to if Gino's going to play this good. I suppose teams are going to figure him out. He hadn't been a starter for a long time in the league, so he probably gets that bit of a pass. But I don't know. The tide is turning a little bit. I feel like what I've been hearing from some of the guys are saying it's like when they were trying to go for a championship again, and everything seems that way. The defense has come on as the season's gone on. It's very young, but it's doing good. So I don't know. I'd be interested to see what the draft. It all depends where we finish. If we get a playoff run and we do okay, who knows? Pete just might stick with Gino. Gino might get a decent payday as well for once.
Imagine the Seahawks are the only team in the NFC West that make it.
That'd be crazy. I mean, we all, including me, to be fair, everybody thought we were going to be, last in that division, going nowhere, and we're top of the division. So it's interesting.
Yeah, I think I had them going with like only 4 wins on the season. They've already surpassed that.
Yeah, the most anybody had apparently, like out the pro predictors. No, this was 5, so we have 5 now. So
interesting. Okay.
What about your boys? You're happy? You happy with Mac over Zappy though?
I mean, you obviously spend first round pick on Mac versus a not first round pick on Zappy. You guys win by 5 points. I mean, it's interesting to see what they're going to do. Lamar Jackson's still waiting. He's waiting to come to New England.
Still waiting. I think you might be waiting a few years or never.
No, I think he might be coming. I still got high hopes. High hopes are still there. But Mac Jones needs to prove that he can be a solid quarterback. If he can show the second half of the season that he is like last year and he can play like last year, then I don't think they move on from him. But right now he just does not look good, and neither does Zappy looks good the first game. Hype was already there. He was all right the second game, but realistically, we really have no good quarterback.
Zappy had one bad half of football, and that was enough for Mac to get back in, to be honest.
Yeah.
I mean, so I don't know. It's interesting. I mean, does this kind of like Lamar Jackson, this different style of QB suit the Patriots? I'm not sure. They're still run heavy. You know what I mean? Yeah. Okay, Lamar's run, but Lamar is like the best running back on their team. He there's an argument to say he wouldn't be the best running back on the Patriots team. Do you know what I mean? So it's just interesting. I think it's probably better for that kind of pocket passer in New England, and you let Ramondre, and I don't think Damian Harris will be here after this year, but for now, anyways, you let them guys do the work on the ground. So it's another interesting thing to see how far the Patriots go this year, because that will probably determine what you guys do as well next season.
My question to you is Damian Harris droppable?
No, I don't think he's droppable, but the way the running back landscape is these days, okay, the Patriots is a committee, but it's probably a better committee than some of these guys that have 3 and 4 running backs there, and you really don't know. I think Stevenson's just taken that step forward. I said it last year. Stevenson looked better when he was out in the field.
He's so good.
He did, yeah. Just Harris was probably getting the line share of the snaps. It's going to trend the other way, and it's starting to. And obviously, he was able to show when Harris was out what he can do. Really, you were getting basically the full workload. So I don't think he's droppable, but he is, he's borderline flex play.
Would you drop him for Deontay Foreman?
Yes, because
There we go.
after this week, yes, but as we're probably going to bring up later, there's not a lot of shares of Deontay Foreman out there left, really. He's on that.
Hopefully they listened to you last week.
Exactly. Hopefully you listened to me last week, but he's on that borderline now of coming up to 70%, just squeaks under. But I think after last week, Foreman, it's still going to be a timeshare there between Foreman and Hubbard, but I think Foreman will be the number one and Hubbard number two. That's the way I take it. So it's probably, Stevenson number one now, Harris number two over in the Patriots. But like we seen what Hubbard just getting that injury in form and was able to shine. If Stevenson gets the injury, goes down, Harris is there to pick up the pieces. Harris is not a bad back. He's not a bad running back. It's just, I think Stevenson is the better one.
Yeah, I agree. I think he is the better one. Damian Harris hasn't really scored much this year towards last year. So Stevenson, of course, taking a step. But the run game has been bouncing around in divisions to conferences all around. So the trade deadline, of course, was today, ended at 4 p.m. We had a lot of trades. I mean, Keith and I were on the show last year between 3 and 4 p.m. last year, and we had nothing. Yeah,
it was so quiet.
The only thing was, who was it? Was it Alan Hearns that went to the Patriots?
Someone not very exciting anyways.
Yeah, it was someone that went to the Patriots for like a 6th-round pick, then 2 weeks later gets cut and goes back to Miami. But for Buffalo, they make a splash into the running back industry. They get Nyheim Hines from Indianapolis, and they trade away Zach Moss and a 2023 conditional 5th-round pick. Keith, what are your thoughts on this pick? Does Nyheim Hines gain some value on that?
It's another pass catcher for them. I mean, the biggest hit here is the James Cook, who they just took in the draft, I think. Hines is going to be good. I think, Hines is what he is. He's a great pass catcher. He was good there in the Colts. I just think it's odd that they went from kind of being on the fringe of like a CMC, this type of guy, to go into Nyheim Hines. It just doesn't make any sense. They still don't have a bell cow back. They're all very similar type of guys. Okay, maybe Singletary is going to be the guy that leads them, and then it's Hines and Cook to get the passing work. But I'm not too excited by it for fantasy. It's just, again, another one of these that murky the waters. He's just a borderline flex play, I think. Yeah, and it's interesting that they go for this type of running back, especially when they drafted Cook 2 pass catches, or to catch passes even.
Yeah, and I mean, I like Nyheim Hines. I've never been a big guy on picking him up like right away in fantasy, because you never know how much his value really going to truly show. With Zach Moss out of the question is, what do they do? Singletary has obviously been the lead guy. Do they give Nyheim Hines that workload more to Nyheim Hines over Singletary, or does James Cook finally come in?
I think Singletary is probably going to still see the lion's share of snaps. I mean, he didn't look too bad the other night against the Packers. But it's just going to be where it goes between Cook and Hines. I reckon they'd have to trade him for Hines, so Hines has definitely jumped up above him. But I think it's Singletary that probably gets most of the snaps.
And we do have breaking news. You mentioned the Packers, and you would hope that they would splash into the trade market and trade for a wide receiver. Well, breaking news came in, source from Dove Kleeman. The Packers offered the Steelers a 2nd-round pick for wide receiver Chase Claypool before he was traded to the Bears. So Pittsburgh believed that the Bears' 2nd-round pick will be higher, so they went with that one.
I was about to say it was a 2nd-round pick that he went for the Bears. So, but yeah, they will be, but it mightn't be much going by the Packers at the moment. So
the biggest losers are the Packers in this trade deadline.
They are, and I believe they tried to get Brandon Cooks as well, and that didn't work. I think a lot of teams thought this whole 2nd-round pick, the value for Claypool was probably just a bit too high. I mean, obviously the Packers were willing to splash out, but that's because they really needed it. I mean, Claypool wasn't. He's a good player. Maybe he was going to stand out. I don't know, but he wasn't that elite wide receiver that probably the Packers need.
I'm surprised Brandon Cooks didn't get traded.
Brandon Cooks, if you've looked on social, to send a bit of a cryptic tweet out, he's not happy as well. I think
Yeah.
he was expecting to. The two surprises for me were Cooks and Kareem Hunt, because it seemed like
Yeah.
Kareem Hunt was made to go to the Rams with the whole Acre situation. That's what I thought. So obviously,
See, I was surprised with Brandon Cooks and Cam Akers because I
yeah,
thought Cam Akers was going to get traded.
yeah, and then I seen something that Cam Akers said that he probably won't play for the rest of the season. It's just not it's not the right thing to do for him. So it sounds like he will be out of the Rams, but it'll be at the end of the season now.
And now, what's your thoughts on Calvin Ridley getting traded? I mean, he was suspended for the whole entire year because he decided to bet. Atlanta received a 2023 conditional 5th-round pick and a 2024 conditional 2nd-round pick from the Jaguars. I mean, what's kind of this trade? Because this kind of was, I don't know, this was bizarre for Jacksonville, in my opinion. I'm surprised that Jaguars traded for a wide receiver that won't help them this year. I mean, my guess is they're looking for the future now.
It was a shock. It was a shock. But I think if anybody has him in Dynasty, it's probably better value for him. I mean, he's going with a better quarterback, a better team, a younger team that are on the up. Falcons are kind of like stuck in a rut now. So definitely a shock. But what the kind of ironic thing is, he got his suspension for betting on the Falcons and the Jags game, and now he's going to the Jags.
And he's going to the Jags.
So it's like it's gone full circle. But I think it's definitely an odd one. I think Ridley would be happy enough with that, to be fair. Sitting a year out, and then he's going to this young, team that are on the up. Young quarterback. Trevor Lawrence is probably taking a bit of a step forward already this season. The team as a whole have taken a step forward. So I have him on a few dynasty rosters. I'm happy with this one, to be honest. I don't mind this one at all. He should go in. He's going to be rusty when he gets back, but like once he gets back into the swing of things, I think he goes in. He slots in as the wide receiver 1.
Would you trade him now in dynasty leagues?
I've always kind of had him on the block just to see what the value was, and it was nothing.
No one really trades.
Yeah, you'd be lucky if you get a 2nd-round pick, and that was only an offer. I mean, I'd take offers. I'd still take a decent offer from him. I probably won't be getting a pick, but I'd take a player or something like that from. But I'm fine to hold him and see what I have. If he comes back like he was, a year ago or whatever, I'm fine. That is a top receiver.
Yeah, Calvin Ridley, definitely an interesting trade on today's trade deadline. Another trade that happened was, and Miami received linebacker Bradley Chubb, a 2025 5th-round pick, but Denver received Chase Edmonds, which we kind of figured a running back would be going to Denver somewhere or whatever, and a 2023 1st-round pick and a 2024 4th-round pick. So clearly Miami's all in. Denver seems like they're still trying to have some type of hope to be able to make playoffs.
Yeah, the Chase Edmonds thing is odd because Miami went and paid him and then never really, didn't use him. Yeah, and now he's been traded to Denver. I think it's a good trade for probably Miami. I think Bradley Chubb's it's a bit of a stud linebacker. But I mean, I get now with Javonte gone down that they need help in the running back position, like in the passing game, but I don't know. We didn't see a whole lot of Edmonds in what we did. He didn't do a whole lot this year. Didn't exactly like what I see. I thought he was good last year with the Cards. So maybe a different offense, and maybe Miami just didn't work for him, and it will for Denver. I don't think it will, going by what I've seen with Russ and all the guys in that offense. But I don't really think he's going anywhere fast, because once Javonte comes back next year, I mean, maybe they get rid of Melvin Gordon, okay, but I mean, Javonte's the guy. So, yeah, it's a bit of an album for Chase Edmonds. And, again, murky's the water there again. So, Latavius Murray, Melvin Gordon, now you've got Chase Edmonds. I mean, who do you want out of them three?
Yeah, I mean, I obviously think Javonte will be clear back, and I think this is a sign for hinting that Melvin Gordon will not be returning with the team.
Yeah, I agree with that, yeah.
But Bradley Chubb going into Miami, I mean, Miami needed some type of defensive playmaker, and Miami just looks even scarier as they already are.
Yeah, they're kind of weak in the secondary. We've seen Detroit do what Detroit do, get out to a high scoring lead and then lose the game. Every game they kind of do is play is what they do. So Miami definitely needed help, and got one of the best linebackers, young linebackers that are out there. So yeah, all in all, I think it was a good trade. A lot of Denver fans seem to be happy to getting that first back because they didn't think they'd get a first for him.
Yeah.
But I wasn't surprised by getting the first. I thought he's worth the first.
I think he's worth the first too. You get a first, fourth, and Chase, not too bad. But Miami, not only did they trade for Bradley Chubb in a fifth, they got rid of Chase Edmonds, but they still brought in another running back. They brought in Jeff Wilson, traded away a 2023 fifth round pick to San Francisco. I mean, I kind of like it. I think Jeff Wilson's a better fit than Chase Edmonds, in my opinion.
Oh yeah, I like it from Wilson going there. It's just another one that murkies the water big time because Raheem Mostert was starting to look really good, and now you put Jeff Wilson in there, and it's just going to be, it's going to be whose day it is. Goes off. It's a nice 1-2 punch for the Dolphins, I think. Both big, strong, fast running backs. I think it's but it's going to be, one guy will go off 1 week, the other guy will go off the next week, and you're just going to have to.
It'll be a committee.
Yeah, it will be. Yeah, and you're just going to have to take a chance putting them in your lineup, see what happens. Hopefully, it's your week when you put Mostert in, and then somebody else will have Wilson, he'll go off. So, yeah, it's good for Miami, I think. But in terms of fantasy, no, it's not good for us fantasy players.
And then going on to this next one, I mean, this one was kind of another shock to me anyways. The Steelers, of course, they traded away Chase Claypool to the Bears. The Bears gave up a second-round pick. I'm not too sure I like this trade for the Bears because unless they think that they're going to make playoffs, I don't know where they're going with this trade.
I mean, I actually think this could work out better for Claypool, being with Justin Fields' new offense. I think that, okay, with the Steelers, there's an uptick for Pickens, but, besides the previous game gone, where he just put up a donut, he has that connection with Kenny Pickett there. So Claypool, always thought was going to be the odd man out because they weren't going to get rid of Deontay. He is the wide receiver one. So I don't mind this for Claypool. I'm just not sure how he fits into this offense a lot because it's not an offense. I know Fields is starting to get better and stuff, but he's doing a lot more with his legs. It's not a whole pass and offense. So you've got Darnell Mooney, who's, so a good player, but like in terms of fantasy, it's like he's not going to do a whole lot. Cole Kmet got his first touchdown in 2 years or something there the weekend. So where Claypool fits in all this in fantasy is not very relevant for me unless I see it first. So I don't know if I was actual Bears fan, I think I'd rather just kept the pick.
That's what I'm saying. Like I think I love Claypool in fantasy, and I think he's actually going to do really well in Chicago. But in a general manager's standing point, the Bears, I think they should have kept the 2023 second round pick.
Yeah, no, I agree.
But Steelers, I mean, see, here's the interesting part. The Steelers think that the Bears will finish with a worse record than the Packers, but I wonder because right now it really looks like that the Packers are going to be worse than the Bears.
I mean, if the Packers keep going the way they do, I think they'll finish with a better record than the Bears, but it won't be by much. Like it might be only 1 or 2 positions. Okay, yeah, fine, you get the better deal, but it's not going to. I don't think it's going to be a whole lot in it if the Packers keep playing the way they are.
Yeah, no, not at all. One of the bigger trades that happened, one of the first trades, that happened today, was an interesting one that I kind of digged it. I digged it a lot actually, and I'm guessing where I'm going with this one. Detroit got a second round pick, 2023, and a 2024 third round pick. They gave away a first round very talented tight end TJ Hawkinson, a fourth round pick in 2023, and a conditional fourth round pick in 2024. So I'm not like Detroit. I think Detroit could have got more.
They could have got a lot more, I think. I don't really know where they were going with this.
No, Hawkinson was a top 10 overall draft pick in the first round, and getting only a second and third round pick in 2023 and 2024. I mean, I would have at least wanted 2 seconds, maybe just a first and a third, or I don't know. I think Hawkinson's worth more than just a second or third.
I agree, and I don't know. It's just kind of them waving the white flag on this season again,
Oh, definitely.
And it's their defense that's the issue. They can put up the points. They're pretty good on offense. They have some good talents. Amon-Ra St. Brown, Swift, Jamal Williams. Goff and Patches has looked okay. It's the defense that's killing them. So I don't know. It looks like they're waving the white flag, but on the other side of the ball, the Vikings. I mean, they're going all out. they're going all out now. I mean, I don't know how this will affect Justin Jefferson and Thielen though, because then you've got a guy like Hawkinson that is a bit of a ball hog when he wants to be and can get in the end zone. But they obviously feel like they can go far, and from their point of view, they didn't give up a lot and got a really good talented tight end.
Yeah, I think 6-1 sitting right now. I think they can have very good opportunity to. I don't know. They could slightly edge the Eagles, depending on how the Eagles do the rest of the season.
Depends. I think the Eagles at the moment look like the better team, but
Well,
I mean,
that's because they're 7-0.
yeah, but I think on both sides of the ball they look better. I'm not too sure that Vikings defense is going to hold up all season, but I think they do have, they have enough talent on offense to win games. Like they can outscore teams. Basically, what Detroit needs to do, but can't.
That is also true. And I think one of the biggest team surprises that didn't splash anywhere was the Giants to me. I think the Giants, with the playoff contending team that they have, I think adding maybe a receiving core there, adding an extra wide receiver there, I think that would have helped Daniel Jones a lot.
I agree, but they've got so much money invested in what they have.
They might as well go all in.
I know, but I think that's probably the reason why. I mean, Kenny Galladay is robbing them blind of all the cash. He's
enjoying it.
Oh yeah, he is. Giants aren't, but I might say that. Go on.
I was just gonna say he's out every week down instead of New York, he's down in Florida relaxing on a vacation.
Oh yeah, he doesn't care. He's like, I'm hurt, spending all this money. Exactly, yeah. But I suppose they got rid of Tony, didn't replace Tony. It's probably going to be another young guy got to step up. But yeah, I do agree. But I'd say the money that they've spent at that position is probably what's held them back from trying to make a trade.
Yeah, I mean, I think that there is an opportunity next year to maybe I don't know if you want to add a receiver in the draft though, because you already did that the last couple of years. I think you'd rather trade a guy, and I'd rather take a guy like Claypool. I think I would have liked Claypool in that New York Giants offense.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of it too where I think the Giants look pretty good in what they were doing and stuff like that. But are they really a 6-2 team? Some people got to look at, most of these games they've been behind and then they come right at
the very end.
They've won the game. Like that's not gonna stand for long. You need to be ahead and winning games comfortably, and being better. At winning games more or less. I mean, the Seahawks kind of were always winning, put them to bed, convincingly enough. That's not to say the Seahawks are a Super Bowl, ready either. They're not. But I just don't know if there's that belief in the Giants organization that they're actually as good as their record. I actually think on paper and what I've seen, they do look pretty good. But whether they're good enough to take on, the Chiefs, the Eagles, even the Chargers, I think will get better as the season goes on. If they're good enough to take on these teams in the playoffs and win, I'm not too sure. Be like my Seahawks. I know we're outperforming right now. I don't think you put us up against the Chiefs or the Eagles in the next couple of weeks, we'll give them a game, but I don't expect us to win.
And the crazy thing is that division's very tough. I mean, a couple of years ago we had a problem on which team, if there was going to be a team that would make it to the playoffs, win the division, and be over 500. But this division right now, 500 plus currently. Of course, Eagles 7-0, Dallas and New York both 6-2, and then Washington sitting at 4-4. So there's still life for all four of these teams. Technically, Washington could still somehow make a playoff. There's still an opportunity, but
the Cowboys are interesting. With that back and that defense is playing lights out. They're interesting.
Yeah, I do love Dak. I think Dak's gonna help the team, but Zeke might be no longer relevant.
Not if you listen to Jerry Jones, though.
Really?
Well, somebody asked.
Well, he likes Zeke, though.
He does, but he said, is Tony Pollard going to be the guy going forward now? And he said, if Tony Pollard somehow cured cancer on that field, he still wouldn't be ahead of Zeke. So,
well, it'll be interesting to see after next season, see what they do, if there's any moves or anything.
Oh, yeah. Imagine for the rest of this season, it's still Zeke. Next year, a whole different story,
Yeah, 100%. So, of course, that was all the biggest trades that happened this today in this season. Time to go to our waiver wire quarterbacks. And Keith, I just want to mention, tough loss for you, losing by 0.02 points to me.
Oh, man. 1-4-1 spot 1-4 to 1-4-1 spot 1-2. I mean, I knew there wasn't that much in it, but then I was going to lose by more. I was going to move by 5 or 6, and then like there was garbage time throws to Hurst that was getting it closer and getting it closer. And I didn't even see it until you messaged me. I was like, oh, if he had just taken like one extra step more,
Yeah,
you know what I mean? What are you gonna do?
all it took was 3 more yards from him, and you beat me. 2 more yards, I would have earned my second tie of the season from in 2 different leagues.
Oh, that would have been interesting.
Right? I never had a tie.
Never had a tie, and then you get 2. Yeah, that would have been interesting.
That'd be crazy. So our waiver wire quarterbacks, and Keith, let's start with you. Who's your biggest waiver wire quarterback to add this week?
Well, my guy was going to be your guy, so I'm going to wait for that. But my next up was Andy Dalton of the Saints. I mean, he's only 21% rostered. Now, it kind of goes with the caveat that I'd still, if it's Winston this week, then I'll play Winston. But Andy Dalton's been pretty good. It's like last week, 229 yards, 2 touchdowns. They won 24-0 against the Raiders. He definitely brings like a calm and influence to this offense. And we've seen, Kamara get involved a lot more. I think that offense where Andy Dalton suits Kamara a lot more than it does when Winston's the quarterback. Now, it's only 17 fantasy points, but he didn't need to do anything outlandish because the Raiders were that bad. If the Raiders were a bit more competitive, that 17 points could have been 27 because he would have had to, do a whole lot more. But you said that's back-to-back good games for Dalton. Baltimore up next. Bad secondary. I think he can take advantage of it again. I know they're getting some guys back. Some linebackers back, and they made a trade yesterday too. Roquan Smith.
Roquan.
He went there. But I still think Andy Dalton. I mean, he put up over 30 points the previous week. He was just over 20 points, I think, this week. 17 points this week. I still think he's pretty good to go. But I do caveat by saying if Winston's there and for some reason they switch and Winston goes in, I would still play Winston against this Baltimore team because he's good enough to sling it against this pretty bad secondary.
Yeah, and I remember last week there was talks about how Jameis Winston was going to be healthy last week, and they would still go with Andy Dalton to be the starter. So it looks like Jameis Winston has officially lost the job. Maybe they'll flip back and forth between quarterbacks. But right now, Andy Dalton looks to be the top guy there. And I do like Andy Dalton. I actually don't mind him. 26 points 2 weeks ago, 17 points last week. He's consistently taking a step forward this season. And like Keith, you mentioned, Baltimore, they have such a terrible defense secondary. Of course, they did add Roquan, which will be big. It'll depend on what the wide receivers are, if they're healthy as well. That's another big issue for New Orleans.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, if they get Michael Thomas back and Jarvis Landry, there's like a serious uptick for that offense. Chris Olave has been leading the way and he's been doing a good job. But, them three on the field would be different and definitely better for Andy Dalton.
Yeah, not to mention, you're going to week 9. Week 9, one of the biggest bye weeks of the year. You got Jacoby Brissett. He's going to be on a bye week. Dak Prescott, Russell Wilson, Daniel Jones, Kenny Pickett, and then as well as Jimmy Garoppolo. So a lot of guys that are top 15 anyways that could get you points. Now on a bye week, you're going to have to look somewhere else.
Exactly. The options for this week are not going to be great. So I think your guy and Dalton are definitely the two main ones I'll be looking at this week.
Yeah, and if you're still fielding for quarterbacks, this next guy will definitely be a good one. Justin Fields, QB 11. This man is a top 12 quarterback right now, averaging only 15.3 points. Don't mind that one. He had a slow start in the beginning of the season. 26.2% owned, facing Miami this week. It looks like it's going to be a battle back and forth with Miami. In all honesty, it's probably going to be a high-scoring game. 17-plus points in the last 4 weeks for Fields, and then 23 points the last 2 weeks. He's continuing to still progress, and I actually really like him right now. I think if in dynasty-wise, if you need a quarterback, this is your guy to go get. In this whole class, there was mentioning that Fields would be the top guy. He's looking like he could be a really good top quarterback from last year's class. And still, when they actually use him to run the ball, when they actually say, hey, let's have a designed run, Fields actually does really good. And now just adding Chase Claypool into the mix, it's a really tough team to argue that Justin Fields won't be a top 12 quarterback moving forward.
I think he's a slow burner, and that the offensive coach and the head coach have finally got things right. I mean, Matt Nagy was not using him right whatsoever.
No.
But, they're actually getting him to use his legs, and, he's gaining yards. He looks good. They were in the game for a lot, for most of that game last week. And it's all because of him, really. So, yeah, I really like him this week. I think, the Russian upside is there now. Everybody knows that. So go get yourself some Justin Fields.
Yeah, I like Justin Fields a lot. I think I was thinking about mentioning him last week, and I said, nah, I won't mention him because I'm not too – I don't know whether or not he's going to do good. And he proved me wrong this week. I mean, I know if I had him, I benched him. I didn't have him starting anywhere.
Yeah.
But he could be a guy to move forward for. Justin Fields, Andy Dalton are 2 waiver wire quarterbacks. Time to go to our running backs. And do I want to start with my guy? Yeah, I think I'll start with my guy. Then you can talk about your little grill type of guy. Tyler Algier is my guy. 11 plus points the last 2 weeks. Had 14 attempts, 39 yards. But he did catch all 3 of his targets for 46 yards and a score, which is not bad. But here's the big kicker. He played 60+% of the snaps in the last 2 weeks, and he looks like he's going to be the lead back moving forward for Atlanta, who, not to mention, is currently sitting at first place. Just saying. Caleb Huntley, he only had about 36% of the snaps last week. I don't expect Caleb Huntley to be anywhere type of relevancy with that team. And I think Tyler Algier is that rookie that's going to really move forward. And who knows, maybe could be the Rashad Penny to end the year.
I like Tyler Algier. I like the talent. But the Falcons are just a bad team in general.
They're first place right now.
Yeah, that division is terrible. Come on, look what's going on in that division. I mean, the Panthers, if the Panthers won, they were going to be like first in that division, seeing what's been going on there with the quarterback changes. But I don't mind Algier. He is a starting running back. He needs to be on because the landscape of running backs is so small and thin. The only thing I would say, you think Caleb Huntley won't have a factor. I think he will, especially around the goal line. So I think he may steal touches there and, touchdowns and stuff like that, which does hurt Algier's value. But I actually do like him, and I think he's a guy that, with the bye week and week 9 being so heavy for teams, that there's going to be a lot of teams out there needing running back. So he's a guy to go get.
I mean, I think, I don't know. I think Algier, I'd rather have Algier maybe than your guy, to be honest.
My guy.
Before we go on to your guy, were you watching the Carolina-Atlanta game at all?
Yeah, I watched a lot of it. Yeah, I tuned in.
I was rooting for Carolina. So
was I.
I was rooting for them so much, and then DJ Moore really killed them by taking his helmet off. But not only did he take his helmet off, Pinheiro should have never missed it.
I mean,
twice.
DJ Moore's an idiot for what he did, but you still expect it. What it turned to like a 48-yard kick? Okay, it's far, but come on, you're in the NFL for a reason. You get playing money, you should be getting that kick. And then the kick then in overtime to seal it was even closer.
It was so close.
Was it 38 or 37 or something like that? And then he still puts it wide. I mean, come on, man. What's the team got to do more to get a win? Once they missed that kick in overtime, I knew the Falcons would go down and get it. Like, Koo wasn't going to miss anyways.
Yeah, but, I mean that's very true. I mean, whatchamacallit, I was like, I don't know if you saw a meme. I saw a meme that said DJ Moore knew that they needed to tank, so he took his helmet off.
Probably, and then I maybe you were thinking, I'll help you tank and you get me a trade, and then nothing happened today.
Exactly, yeah. But yeah, Tyler Algier, my guy. Who's your guy? Is it George Foreman?
It's his brother, Deontay Foreman. I mean, he must be old then. But it's my guy from last week again. He's just under 70%. It's like 67.3% rostered. But, I mean, like 26 attempts, 118 yards, and a hat trick, 3 touchdowns. This guy exploded without Chuba Hubbard. He had over 31 fantasy points. Now, Hubbard, like I said, looks like he will be back, but I'm expecting Foreman to be the number 1 in this committee and see more snaps than Hubbard. And I think he's like a mini Derrick Henry. I think, if anything, he's going to get the touches around the goal line, which are valuable, because then hopefully he gets touchdowns. They are playing the Bengals this week, who up to last night, I would have said defense was good and the run defense was good. But the Cleveland Browns could have showed them up last night, so they'll be kind of on a backlash. But I still think Foreman can have a good day against them.
So here's what I'm gonna say.
Okay.
I'm gonna stick by it.
You like Chuba Hubbard, anyways.
Go get yourself Chuba Hubbard because you know what? He's 34.9% owned. That's all I gotta say.
That's fine. You told him to get them last week, and then he was hurt, so my guy won that one.
I know. I was so upset. I was like, man, I called it too, and I was like, of course he had to get hurt. He might be playing this week, which I think
he will be back. To be fair.
Yeah, this is the week to really look at who's going to stay, who's going to be the top dog there. It may very well be a committee, and Foreman just got lucky. And
I think it will go back to a committee. I mean, Chuba Hubbard's going to have his touches in that. Will it be 50-50? I don't think so. I still think Foreman just gets an uptick.
Yeah, that is also very true. That could also happen. And then that's when I tell you at the end of the year that Chuba finished better than Deontay Foreman, even though Chuba played one less game. Anyways, Tyler Algier, Deontay Foreman, our two waiver wire running backs. Most likely we won't be talking about Foreman for a while since he'll most likely be over 70% owned. Yeah. So next week, be sure to look out for Chuba Hubbard. Anyways,
I'll swap him in. I'll take Chuba next week then.
Yeah. So those are our two waiver wire running backs. Time to go to our waiver wire wide receivers. I think this guy, he's got some big palms, and I think he can catch some good footballs.
Who's your guy? He can. It's Joshua Palmer for the Los Angeles Chargers. I mean, they're coming off their bye, so it's nothing special really there to talk about in terms of that. But, I mean, Mike Williams is out minimum 4 games. We don't know what's going on with Keenan now. Seems like,
he might playing this week.
Huh?
He might be playing this week, I heard.
Well, he played, 2 weeks ago and didn't play. He got 2 catches and didn't play the second half. He said he was okay, but wasn't feeling 100%. I don't know. You'd expect him to be 100% after the bye. But either way, if he plays, Keenan Allen is the wide receiver 1. I think Palmer goes in as the wide receiver 2. So I think he's going to be. I think he's going to be valuable. He's been good all season long because of these injuries. With Allen out, it's just been Williams. And even when Williams is on the field, he's been so inconsistent, and Palmer's been pretty good. So I think he's a guy to put in, especially in this week when we're missing a lot of guys. Definitely a solid flex play if needs be a wide receiver too.
Yeah, I actually really like him, especially with Mike Williams out. Palmer's no doubt number 2. And Keenan Allen does tweak anything during the game, or if he isn't able to be ready to start, even with that bye week, Palmer's a clear number 1. So he should be owned in all leagues, and he should be started in all leagues if that is the case. So I love that. I love that pick a lot. He would have actually been my pick if I remember that Palmer was coming off a bye week.
I was about to say, did you not get there before me with your pick?
Yeah, I think I did, but I thought maybe people needed some deeper players to go pick up, and that is why I picked Terrace Marshall Jr. And if you asked me 2 years ago when Terrace Marshall got drafted, I said that was a terrible. Don't draft him. He's a terrible pick. Well, now that Robbie Anderson's gone, Terrace Marshall's the clear number 2. And last week with PJ Walker there, he looked really good. 9 targets, 4 receptions, 87 yards. I mean, obviously Carolina, it's the offense. We don't know what to think of really their offense or their whole team. I mean, last week they almost were first place. So in my opinion, I think it's a good buy for him in dynasty leagues. And if DJ Moore was traded, Terrace Marshall was the clear-cut one.
Yeah, I don't mind this call. I think he's definitely even though he had a good week, and I think he's going to be pretty good. Like you say, he's going to be the wide receiver 2 in that offense going forward. I still think he's a buy low. Don't go because who knows what happens with the Panthers if PJ Walker has one bad week. Does Baker come back in, and then you would probably say Terrace Marshall's value go right down and stuff like that. So I think he's a guy definitely in dynasty to buy low. And if you are stuck, he's a guy that will slot in, but he's probably wide receiver 4 range. Maybe flex, but it just depends. I mean, PJ Walker's look great so far. And that offensive line is definitely given, he's definitely getting a lot more time, I think, than Baker ever did. But Marshall and DJ Moore definitely are fantasy relevant go forward once PJ Walker's in there, I think.
Yeah, and Marshall, not to mention, of course, I mentioned if you are looking for a deep play type of guy or a deep waiver or ad, Terrace Marshall isn't even 1% owned. He's 0.7% owned. So
he's out there more or less every league. So yeah, if you want to, you've got like a really big 14, 16 team league, I'm sure he's still out there. I mean, he's a good guy to pick up because it's definitely, if you're in them deep leagues, you probably have a lot of players. There's definitely one team or maybe more that has a lot of players on buys because of the week 9 and the amount of teams. So Terrace Marshall's probably screaming at you to take off the waivers.
And if I had room, I would pick him up immediately. But a lot of my redraft leagues, they're all like 4 or 5 bench.
Yeah, same. I mean, the only one I'd be looking at is my, I'm in with you a few of them, the dynasty ones where we've got long benches and stuff like that. Yeah, that'd be some of the ones I'd be looking at.
Not to mention in dynasty, go look at if Terrace Marshall is available, because I know in one league, I think he was dropped in one of my leagues in dynasty, and I mean, he could easily be snagged up for free right now.
Oh yeah. I mean, I was surprised that there was a guy, a league where Isaiah McKenzie was out there up until a couple of weeks ago, like just sitting on waivers. I mean, what's going on? So you do get these ones where the kind of little weird ones that you're not expecting. So do have a look, even if it's just a 1 or 2 week slot and play. I mean, it could get you the win for them weeks.
I mean, yeah, that's true. I mean, I remember especially taking over orphan teams. If you're taking over an orphan team, I mean, look at the free agency first. Like, there may be a lot of players that are just there that you could just easily snag.
Exactly, yeah. That's a good tip. Go look at the free agency, who you can get for nothing before going and trading and trying to overhaul the team.
Yeah, Terrace Marshall Jr., Josh Palmer, our 2 waiver wire wide receivers of the week. And now it's time to get into the last waiver wire ad. And let's knot this thing in. 2 guys. Who's your guy?
So my guy, which I was actually really surprised that he was under 70% only. It's only 62%. Was Dawson Knox, and maybe, I don't know, just people didn't pick him back up after the buy or something. But don't get me wrong, his stat line from last week wasn't that good. 3 targets, 2 receptions. I think he got 10 yards in total, but he got the touchdown, so he ended up with 9 fantasy points, which is not the worst, for a tight end. He plays the Jets, which are.
I love it.
I like the matchup. I think the Jets have been pretty good, to be fair. So you could see a lot of double coverage on the likes of Gabe Davis and Diggs. So it means Knox is going to be open, and Knox is always good in the red zone. And has that good connection with Allen. So he's part of a high-powered offense. So I was just really surprised he was under 70% owned. So I think it's just a guy to go and get.
See, I loved Dawson Knox last year, and I was really liking him this year, but he just hasn't really shown that type of playmaking that we're used to seeing because of how many wide receivers that they have that they could target. And Josh Allen, of course, targets Gabe Davis. I mean, he targets Stephon Diggs, targets them more. Naheem Hines, he's gonna chip into those targets as well now. And I mean, looking into the future of Dawson Knox, he only had 1 game over six targets. And he hasn't caught more than four receptions in any of the weeks. Of course, he was injured 2 weeks. I'm intrigued to see what happens going forward. Jets is a really good favorable matchup. If he's under 70% owned, which he is, I think this is a good steal. But I'm risky on trying to pick up Dawson Knox right now.
Okay.
Right now, anyways. Maybe in a couple weeks, I'll be all in.
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, he's attached to Josh Allen, so he can go off anytime.
Exactly. And that's the thing. Having such a valuable quarterback, who to know, where you want to go with it? Does he want to go to Stephon Diggs all game? Or if Stephon Diggs gets locked up, then Dawson Knox's day.
Yeah, exactly.
I'll go with my guy. And my guy I already mentioned last week. And I'm going to mention him again because he's been the guy that I've been saying to go pick up. And hopefully after this week, people start listening to me. That's Evan Ingram. Evan Ingram, this man, he's averaging 9.1 points a game, tight end 10 right now. So he's a top 10 tight end, and he's only 32.2% owned. If you're in these 12, 14, 16 team leagues, and he's somehow in the free agency, why don't you have a top 10 tight end in your fantasy lineup? It's ridiculous. 4 straight weeks, 9+ points. I mean, I said it last week. It's only a matter of time where he's going to find the end zone. And guess what? This week, he managed to find the end zone. Man's balling out. And I think the future of him is finally here.
Yeah, I mean, I said it many times in this pod that I'm not an Evan Ingram fan, but he was actually the guy I was going to pick a tight end before you got there before me. So, like your quarterback, I think he was, Fields was the number 1, I think, but I think Evan Ingram should be the number 1 at tight end. Look, the guy always had talent. He was very talented with New York. just always broke down with injuries. Now he comes over to the Jags, and the one thing we noticed, I think we said it a lot last year, Fernando, was that Trevor Lawrence likes to target the tight end position. He really does, and we're seeing it now, and it's bringing out the best in Evan Ingram. If he just stays healthy and he keeps up with these stat lines, I mean, he's going to go back up there where he was, top 10 again in redraft. Most, for drafts next year, people are going to take an Evan Ingram a lot higher than they did this year if this keeps happening. So the big problem, no one really ever disputed his talent. It was whether he could stay healthy. So he's doing it for now, and let's hope he remains healthy and keeps finding the end zone.
Evan Ingram, Dawson Knox are two guys, and I just want to point it out there. If you're going to free agency and you're in need of a tight end, look at Kyle Pitts because he's most likely there because I just put in a waiver ad for Kyle Pitts in one of my leagues.
Yeah, and I picked him up last week in one of my leagues too. So there's a lot of people that dropped him. I think everybody be going in for him after his good week, but I wouldn't expect that every week.
No, don't expect that every week unless somehow he does finally become fantasy relevant.
Exactly. I mean, you can plug and play and see what happens after last week. Maybe they're finally learning that he's a special talent and to use him.
Dawson Knox, Evan Ingram are two waiver wire tight ends. Now it's time to close out this episode. It's midseason. Midseason mock draft is upon us. So obviously sleeper, we're going to use sleeper format. And of course, they haven't updated the projections, of course. So we're going to go back and forth between our picks. It's going to be 4 teams. Obviously, I'm going to have team 1 and 3. Keith's going to have 2 and 4. We're going to do a whole redraft, and we'll see who ends up having a better team in the end. So I decided to do 4 instead of that 10-team thing. Decided to have only 4. And looking into this, of course, you would think Jonathan Taylor would be the first overall running back. I have to actually start the draft. I wonder if I can actually start the draft without it. Oh, no, I don't have to. Hold on, I gotta actually use my actual phone. That's what happens. All right, so my first pick will be Austin Eckler. He'll be my first player.
Okay. So if I was picking now, I'm 100% picking Christian McCaffrey, so you can put him in for me, please.
Of course you would. Of course. All right. And then team 3, I'm going to take Derrick Henry. I'm going to take the King. I think he's still there. He's still doing great. I think he's worth a shot there.
I was going between CMC and Henry, so I think that was a good pick. So I'm going for JJ, Justin Jefferson.
Really? JJ? You're not going to go with Cooper?
Nope.
All right.
Still JJ. I still think at this point in the season, okay, there's been some up and down weeks, but JJ is still I still think he'll come out on top.
All right, so we're back on the turn here. I got Austin Eckler. Do I want to double it up? I think I will on running backs. I'm going to take Dalvin Cook. I'm not a big fan on him, but I think he's going to be a good ad.
Yeah, that's not too bad. I started with McCaffrey, so I'm happy to leave CMC for now. If you're going to leave me with the 2 top wide receivers, then I'll take Cooper Kupp.
Cooper Kupp? Yeah, I figured. So now we go into pick number 3 in the second round, and I think I'm going to take Stephon Diggs. Diggs. Only reason why is Jamar Chase is injured. So,
yeah, I mean, show me Can you just show me the running backs?
Yeah, I can show you the running backs. Let me go here. That's quarterbacks. Here's the running backs. Oh,
I will take.
Oh, I think I know who you're gonna go with.
I'll take DeAndre Swift.
DeAndre, really? Interesting. I didn't think you were gonna go with Swift.
Who did you think I was gonna go with?
Well, I'm not gonna tell you because I think Team 3 needs him. Okay. So, I'm gonna take a wide receiver here, and I'm gonna take actually Jamar Chase with this one. I think with the injury, it won't be bad. I think he'll be able to still come back and be relevant.
Okay. Yes, it's a pretty good pick. I think the guy that has the uptick now going forward, and he had a good week last week, is Alvin Kamara. So I'm going to take Alvin Kamara here.
I like Kamara. I like the pick. I'm going to take Nick Chubb. I think this is a good pick for Nick Chubb to go to. Okay. Nick Chubb, right now, he's the RB3 PPR.
Of course. Jonathan Taylor, I mean, it's still out there for me. I was saying all along, I didn't know why he was number 1. I knew why he was the number 1 pick, but I didn't want him. I still don't want him right now.
Really?
Yeah, I'm
Why'd
gonna
you take
take.
Najee?
No, I'm gonna take Saquon Barkley.
Saquon? Oh, Saquon's still there. Didn't realize
Saquon
that.
has looked so good so far.
He has. He's looked amazing. With that, I mean, you might as well just give me a free wide receiver. I'm taking Tyreek Hill.
Off you go. Sounds good to me. I will go and look by the top guys who are there. I will take the best tight end, Travis Kelce.
All right. Interesting. I like it. I like the pick. I'm going to add another wide receiver into team 3, and I'm going to go with Devontae Adams. I was debating
Really?
whether I wanted. Why did you want him?
No. I don't want him at all.
Well, he's wide receiver 9 right now. You can't go wrong with it.
Yeah, but that offense is terrible. I don't want him. I mean, this is just one QB, right? That's
One
you said?
QB, one QB.
Okay, so don't need so. So team 4 will have Debo Samuel.
Debo, I like it. Going into the 5th round for me, who do I want? Well, I will take the number 6 wide receiver, AJ Brown.
Nice pick. I like AJ. Great week last week. I mean, can't go wrong with 3 touchdowns in the first half.
No, you can't.
Okay, flip back here. Team 2, McCaffrey, Cup, Kamara, Kelce. Can't go wrong with this either. Can I have a look at the wide receivers, please?
Yeah, go for it. Here we go. Don't take my guy.
Don't take your guy. So CD, Mike Evans. I would take T. Higgs out of this because I think he's looked pretty good so far.
Really? You're going to take T. Higgs?
Oh.
Okay. All right. Take T. Higgs. Do what you want.
Well, CD Lamb has been hit or miss. So is Mike Evans. Keenan Allen hasn't started yet. Michael Pittman hit and miss. Terry McLaurin, I think, is probably going to be good for the rest of the season. DJ Moore could be good, all right. But yeah.
All right. So I will take my guy, Jonathan Taylor, with that pick.
Okay, cool. So I'm going to take Mr. Waddle with this, I think.
Oh, really? You really want to do that?
Yep. I actually like that team 4 start.
I was actually going to do Waddle and pair him up with Tyreek Hill.
Oh, okay.
That's what I was waiting for. Well, all right. I'm going to have to look for a tight end here. I'm probably going to go with Mark Andrews. Of course, you can't go wrong. He's best tight end besides Travis Kelce.
Yep. Can't go wrong is right. What's the running back landscape like, please?
Running back landscape, it's all right.
I would say Javonte, but he's injured. He's just got But out of this, I like Joe Mixon. So
Joe Mixon. Yeah. Okay, I gotta find Mixon. I don't know why I can't find Mixon. Oh, because he's number 2. I kept looking down and kept going lower and lower. I will have to take another tight end here with this one. I don't know who I actually want. Who's the top tight end 3 right now? Do you know who the tight end 3 is?
I don't know who's the tight end 3.
I don't. Is it Zach Ertz? I'm gonna take Zach Ertz. I like Zach Ertz a lot, actually.
Yeah.
I'll take Zach. Zach attack.
This team, I really like Team 4. I'm building this one up nicely. This Team 4 is going to get Travis Etienne.
That's a good pick. Good pick. I like Etienne. Going with the first team, I'm going to take a guy who fell very late in rounds and right now is being my top dog, Ramondre Stevenson.
Nice. Go pick. Team 2, McCaffrey, Cup, Kamara. Okay, let me take a look at the receivers.
Wide receivers? Yeah, I figured you needed a wide receiver.
CD's
still on the board. I'm surprised.
Yeah, at this stage, I'll go CD.
Good snipe. All right. Well, I guess now I'm going to have to look for another wide receiver since someone decided to snipe me. I'm going to actually take Amari Cooper. He's been an undervalued type of guy, wide receiver 8 right now.
Yeah, very interesting. Good pick there. A guy I think who's going to be good going forward for this team who's already stacked at wide receiver. So I'm going to go Terry McLaurin.
Scary Terry.
Yeah, I think it's going to be great going forward.
All right, let's look at the first team. First team has 3 running backs, 3 wide receivers. I think this is where I'm going to start taking a quarterback. I'm going to take Josh Allen here. Of course, can't go wrong with that.
Oh, they start coming off the board now. So this team could do with probably a wide receiver. We're fine with McCaffrey. Oh, Kelsey's another receiver. Okay, this team gets Jalen Hurts then because this is fine because just okay, yeah.
So you're going to take Jalen Hurts. Interesting. Okay, good pick. I will take a quarterback. If I guess we're staying on the quarterback run, I'll take Lamar Jackson.
Nice. Let me see.
You gonna make the 8th round all red?
I'll make the 8th round all red. Go to the quarterbacks. I think I know who I'm going to pick here.
It's clear choice.
I'm picking Mahomes.
Yeah. All right, going back to me. So now this is more just depth position on who I want to go with. So I will go with. I think Najee Harris is going to turn the season around. I think I'm going to go with Najee.
Okay, I like the pick. I hope he turns it around because I like Najee.
I really hope.
Let me have a look at the running backs. I think I know where I'm going with this one. Yeah, I'm going with the top guy there. I'm going with Aaron Jones.
Aaron Jones. Yeah, he was actually, I was thinking he would be a good fit for my 3rd team. Aaron Jones. Let's see. I think my wide receivers on team 3 need a little bit of help. I think it's going to be Mike Evans that's going to help out.
Okay. Let me see my team 4. I know I like this team.
Yeah.
This team, I know where I'm going here. Can I go tight ends, please?
Yeah, let's go for it. Tight ends, here we go.
Take
the Muth. Let the Muth go loose.
No, I know who the guy is going to have better. George Kittle's going to have a great end of the season now.
No, I'm not a Kittle guy. Let's see. So I'm good with quarterback, good with tight end. I mean, we're probably not going to look at any more of those. We're probably going to just take depth positions.
Yep.
Let's see. I think, too bad Breece Hall is not there anymore.
Yeah, it's a shame.
It really is. Oh, why would I forget about him? I'm going to take the running back 16, Dameon Pierce.
Oh, good pick. Nice. Okay, so let me look at receivers, please.
Yeah, go for
it. Scroll down. See what else we got going on down here. Burrell Marquise, he was good. No, let's go back. Let's take DK. DK has been good so far.
I like the DK pick. A lot. All right, let's see. DK, the wide receiver 26.
Yeah, it's not bad for a guy that nobody knew what was going on with Gino.
No, not at all. So I got 4 wide receivers. I only have 3 running backs on team 3, so I'm probably going to take a running back here. Close off my running backs for both teams. Should I take Zeke?
You should take Zeke, yes.
Of course. You would want me to take Zeke.
Of course I would, because then I can take someone else. That's better.
Yeah. I'm going to take Ken Walker. How about that?
Good pick. So what have I got? I got 3. I'm going to take running back here too, because I need just flip the running backs, please.
Yeah, go for it. Technical difficulties.
Of course, we run into them all the time. I mean, a guy who's on the up, and I still think it's going to be on the up, is a guy we like, and I'll take a chance. I'll go with Antonio Gibson.
I was almost saying to take Gibby, and you decided to take him.
He's been good the last 2 weeks, and he's been a lot better than Brian Robinson Jr., so it's been interesting.
I'm so excited. He deserves to be such a top dog.
Oh, he does. Yeah, I fully agree.
For the first team anyways, I'm going to have to take a wide receiver. The only question is who I really want to take, and I think I actually like Olave here.
Oh, good pick, Chris Olave. Yes, nice pick. I think I'm okay. Let me check wide receivers for team 2. I think I like what I'm doing right there.
Kupp, Higgins, Lamb, and Metcalf.
So a guy that if he does come back from injury is going to be, he starts in as the wide receiver 1. We talked about him already, Keenan Allen.
Interesting. Okay. I like the pick. I just think injury concerns and everything. That's why I've let him slide.
I agree with you, but I think it's kind of, he slid far enough. I think, he's the top dog there if he's fit and healthy, especially with Mike Williams out now.
So I think I might look for another wide receiver for team 3 anyways. Let's see. Who do I want to go with? I might go with a sneaky guy, and I think I will. I'm gonna take someone, the man, the myth, the legend, if I can ever find him, Jacoby Myers.
Interesting pick.
Been scoring double digits every single week.
Interesting pick. Oh, I don't. I like him. We know, how I'm a fan of Jacoby. We've had him many times. We've talked about him many times in the show. But yeah, I'm going wide receiver 2 here. Can you scroll
Keep
down?
scrolling. Yeah,
Yes,
I got
please.
you.
I have some there. I will shoot for upside with this pick. Oh no, I won't. I will just go for DeAndre Hopkins. That will probably have it for
Oh
him.
man, what a sneaky pick there.
Yeah,
D Hop, man, that man's a beast.
he is. Yeah,
It's 20.3, then 33.9.
see that one-handed catch?
He's just
So good.
Unreal.
He has massive hands though as well.
Are you trading him? Are you trading him for a first round pick in Dynasty right now?
No, if I'm rebuilding, yes. If I'm a contender, no. You're gonna win. You're gonna win with D Hop.
So if you're a contender, are you willing to trade for D Hop for first?
If I'm a contender and I want D Hop, yeah, I'll give up a first for D Hop. Yeah.
Do you think his value just stays at a first and no more than a first?
It depends. I'm sure they want more than a first. I'm sure like whoever has D Hop would want a first plus, but you could say we haven't seen a whole lot this season.
That's true.
To command more, but then again, we've seen what he's done, in previous years and what he's just done on a couple of games. But I'd start with a first and then try and negotiate. But I'd be definitely trying to get him if I'm a contender.
Oh, that's also very true. I mean, okay. I will take pick number 12.4. I'll take a guy that we talked about last week. I just have to find him because he definitely was not drafted very high. And boy, oh boy, I can't find him. So I'm going to have to type in his name. I'm going to take Tyler Boyd.
Oh, nice. Okay.
So that will be with a Jamar Chase. So I'll still have the injury concern there. And Boyd will just fill in.
Yep, that's cool. Can I see running backs, please?
Yeah. Here you go. Some running backs.
Not like in a whole lot of what's there and what could be happening.
I'll just take Deontay Foreman.
He's interesting. He was interesting, and Tony Pollard's interesting kind of going forward. You know what? Go on, pick Deontay Foreman.
I knew it. I knew you'd go for Deontay. So I will go with. So you'll take Foreman. I will take a running back for my third team, and I'll actually take a Willie guy, and that is Jamal Williams, the
Nice.
RB9 right now. Isn't that crazy? RB9.
I know it is crazy. I'm gonna go running back here again on this team. Well, for team 4. Well, not again, just for team 4. Scroll back up, please, on the running backs. I've got one in mind for this team.
I'm gonna take the best kicker in town.
That's who. Yeah, Kareem Hunt. It looks like it's gonna. Yeah.
I knew it. I figured you would take Kareem Hunt.
Yeah, that's where I was going. There's nothing else jumping out of me that I can say who's really going to get on top.
Yeah. Coming into the last pick of the draft, I have Austin Eckler, Dalvin Cook, Ramondre Stevenson, Najee Harris, Damian Pierce on my running backs. Hill, Brown, Olave, and Boyd. Josh Allen, Mark Andrews are my two guys. I'm thinking I'm going to take a tight end here just to take a backup in case, since tight ends have been very hard. With this one, I will take I'll take the guy that I've been wanting all season. That's Evan Ingram.
Okay. Yeah, good pick. I'll bounce back into. Can I scroll up and show me my team 2 team, please? So I have McCaffrey, Kamara, Mixon, Jones, Higgins. Okay, I'm gonna go into wide receivers. Just
All right.
to I'm good at that. And I'm gonna take. I think DJ Moore will keep it going, so I'll take DJ Moore here at the last pick.
DJ Moore. Okay. With this one, Zach Ertz not being a really beneficiary, maybe. So I'm gonna take the Muth. Let the Muth go loose.
Let the mood go loose.
Who is the final pick, Mr. Irrelevant? Who is it?
Who is it? Let me see this team.
Let's see.
Please. I know we're good at wide receivers. We're pretty good at running back too, to be honest.
I mean, with a 4-person team, it's pretty good. You have a pretty solid
pretty good all the way around here. D-Hop's in there. I'll go back to running backs on this team because I think it's just lights out on wide receivers. I think playoff Lenny might. I think that the Bucks have to get better. I'm going to take a chance that Leonard Fournette and the Bucks get better.
All right. Well, that is the whole entire draft. It's been an interesting one. I like the teams I drafted, and I think you like the teams you drafted too.
Yeah, definitely. Again, like you said, it was only a 4, but it's interesting where we're taking these guys where, to where we would have taken them at the start of the season in our normal drafts. That's the interest, and that's what we're trying to learn from this, and who we think is going to perform, for the second half of the season. So this is kind of way we've kind of picked these teams.
Yeah, and of course D-Hop. I mean, for instance, for D-Hop, he's fallen very late. You see Lenny falling super late.
Yeah.
You see Olave and Boyd climbing up the ladder, Ramondre climbing up the ladder, and then you see bigger falls like Jonathan Taylor, Najee Harris. Some interesting ones.
It's very interesting. I mean, will be interesting to see what we do at the end of the season and where these guys land, compared to what we just done now.
And maybe we'll do a end of the season mock draft and see where these players versus to where we draft them at the end of the season go.
Yeah, for sure. We should do that because this is very interesting.
Yeah. So that is our mid-season mock draft. Once again, that is going to do it here in today's show. If you haven't done so already, be sure to use code SportsTimeHQ on Underdog Fantasy. They'll match your first deposit up to $100. So go download it. Go put $100 in. You get a free $100. Can't go wrong. And if you're really good at betting, I mean, for instance, go for it. If you guess Tyreek Hill is going to score more receiving yardage than he does, well, you're probably going to pay out pretty good. Once again, that's going to do it here in today's show. Next week, we'll be on at 11 a.m. on Tuesday, 11 a.m. Eastern time. If you haven't done so already, be sure to follow Keith all over social media at SwampDonkey_90. Be sure to follow him and his fiance on Instagram at HuddleUp_NFL. Once again, I'm Fernando. I am your host of Sports Time HQ. We will see you all next Tuesday, 11 a.m. Eastern.